1940s, an Austrian immigrant to America and refugee from Nazi Germany, Dr. Wilhelm Reich, made the scientific discovery of a previously unknown energy existing in the atmosphere, in space, and within living organisms. Discovered accidentally, Dr. Reich eventually demonstrated this blue glowing energy to charge up and radiate from microorganisms, plants, animals, and humans. This energy also existed in a free form within the open atmosphere and in high vacuum. He called this energy the Orgone. Orgone energy, as Dr. Reich discovered, was synonymous with life energy, long postulated by scientists and accepted as fact by ordinary people from around the world. Orgone energy could be gathered in its free form directly from the atmosphere using a device he later called the Orgone energy accumulator. A simple enclosure resembling a large hollow capacitor, composed of alternating layers of special insulators and conductors. The Orgone accumulator allowed a high charge of the orgone to collect inside itself, facilitating its direct study and revealing many of its properties. Dr. Reich observed the orgone energy charge in the human biosystem was expressed in emotion and sexuality and could be measured bioelectrically. A person's overall vitality and aliveness was a function of human and atmospheric orgone charge and pulsation, and this could often be increased by sitting inside the orgone accumulator. Orgone charge of the tissues was a fundamental component of the immune system, as revealed in the bioelectric charging of red blood cells. The orgone accumulator was found to boost the immune system of people who sat inside them for periods of approximately 30 minutes a day over many days, and to thereby promote health and reduce the symptoms of some diseases. So incredible were the healing effects of the orgone accumulator that Dr. Theodor Wolff, a pioneer in psychosomatic medicine and associate of Dr. Reich, called the orgone accumulator the most important discovery in the history of medicine, bar none. Another German physician has stated, "Failure to use the orgone accumulator in the treatment of severe burns constitutes medical malpractice." Dr. Reich observed the orgone energy had a blue color, and he reasoned the Earth was surrounded by an envelope of blue glowing orgone energy. He observed the streaming of protoplasm in the cells, and movements of smooth muscle tissue bore a resemblance and functional similarity to the movements of streaming cloud patterns and to the illuminating an animal-like aurora phenomenon. This was years before high-altitude aircraft discovered the atmospheric jet streams, and more than a decade before the astronauts returned color photos of the Earth's blue-glowing atmosphere. Dr. Reich reasoned that both the hurricanes and galaxies were created and put into motion by superimposing streams of orgone energy in a cosmic dance similar to the sexual attraction between male and female. He demonstrated the existence of orgone energy in deep vacuum tubes, which also glowed blue when charged up inside orgone energy accumulators. The orgone energy filled all space, he argued, satisfying many of the descriptions of the older cosmological ether of space, or what modern astronomy confusedly calls dark matter, and which is identified as an anomalous blue-glowing halo surrounding galaxies. Even more controversial, Dr. Reich developed a method to run small motors with the orgone energy. He also developed orgone energy devices for affecting the atmospheric orgone and clouds to bring rains during droughts or even into large deserts. Dr. Reich demonstrated this same life energy or orgone energy in a number of carefully controlled experiments, too much to report in this short video, which allow us to make these short summary statements with reasonable scientific certainty. His publications on these subjects presented very positive results from his experimental work, but this only added to the hysterical outrage of his critics. They slandered his early research on human sexuality, called the Orgone accumulator a sex box, and subjected Dr. Reich and his associates to character assassination and slander. Dr. Reich's work and ideas were chronically misrepresented in popular newspaper and magazine smear articles. The fraudulent information and outright lies, and without investigating his work in any serious manner, the medical establishment encouraged the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to seek and obtain a court injunction to stop Dr. Reich's research, writing, and speaking about his discovery. In a legal case which has far greater significance to American freedoms and the U.S. Constitution than the better-known Scopes monkey trial, Dr. Reich was finally charged with contempt of court for the technical violation of an obscure cosmetic labeling law. He and an associate, Dr. Michael Silvert, were sent to prison, and Dr. Reich's books and research journals were ordered banned from interstate commerce, and existing copies were burned in New York City incinerators. Dr. Reich died in prison in 1957, while Dr. Silvert committed suicide shortly after his release. Victims of a left-wing smear campaign merged with organized big medicine and pharmaceutical interests. Fortunately, most of Dr. Reich's books survived and were republished. Newly republished editions of his writings are available from bookstores and internet catalogs in many different languages from all around the world. Since the 1960s, an entire new generation of scientists and physicians have investigated Dr. Reich's work, reproducing his experiments, applying them clinically, and finding them to be sound and the discovery of the Orgone energy to be authentic. In particular, Dr. James DeMeo, a former university professor who was blacklisted and punished for his positive interests in Reich, has several books on this subject which are available. The Orgone Accumulator Handbook by Dr. DeMeo provides concise instructions on how to build and safely use the Orgone energy accumulator, following Dr. Reich's original guidelines and methods. This small but information-packed book contains many photos, diagrams, a scientific bibliography, and resource guide. Another book edited by Dr. DeMeo, entitled Heretic's Notebook, presents the results of new experiments by many different scientists of the younger generation, proving and expanding upon the scientific substance of Dr. Reich's discovery. It also addresses questions of historical significance on related concepts, such as the cosmic ether of space, which always had positive evidence to support it, in spite of many distortions in the textbooks. These books, and others like them, are important for anyone interested in Dr. Reich's discoveries, which constitute a breakthrough and authentic revolution in the sciences. They are a part of the censored science of the 20th century, which are expunged from textbooks and about which the mainstream news media refuses to accurately report. You are encouraged to get these books and educate yourself.
Hello folks, May 22nd, I'm back. That was a short little video about Mr. Reich, and because all of my work is based on his work, and I added a lot of stuff to it, but yeah, basically. Another reason they didn't say too, he got put in jail because he was supposedly bringing down bad UFOs and messing with their weather weapons. But they hadn't figured it out yet, so they didn't say that. Okay, I'm tracking a Bogie coming in, and something told me to look on radar, so I looked, and this thing's flaring up right here on the kind of central Texas almost, panhandle. But it flared up pretty quickly, so I wanted to keep tabs on it. You can watch the center of it. It kind of squirms around like a snake or a worm or something. That's not natural. Natural storms, they come in lines because hot weather hits cold weather. They don't just start up in the middle of nowhere as a circle like that and festering like a worm, jumping, moving around. Because right now it's getting hit by 2 satellite dishes. I just pointed Pegasus, and I always have the other one, C3PO, pointing this way. And so we're going to watch to see how fast this goes away. I don't have the wand on Pegasus. I just have the regular dish. It's not always needed. Those things create their own energy, so you don't really have to connect anything to it unless the wand is really a Tesla coil. So you're putting like 432 hertz into that energy, which is scalar energy, and it goes through walls, concrete, mountains, houses, people, trees, everything. Kind of like X-ray or something, but it's not harmful. And Orgone, they can never get this technology and flip it around and make it bad. There's no way you can make this into bad energy. It's God force energy, so it's life-giving energy. It makes plants grow better. It's life force energy. So there's only 2 energies. There's God force and there's death force. So it's like God and the devil. One is dying, and one's living. So everything wants to live because it's alive. So it just Orgone just facilitates life, and it's always working. It's like those little Orgone pieces are like little machines, and the way that I make those cones is the exact same as those Orgone accumulator boxes that Reich made, except that his would suck energy from outside into the box and focus it on whatever's inside the box, which is kind of, prototype theory. But the way that we do it, we add crystals and all kinds of stuff, with the layers and all that too, and compress the crystals with the resin, which is made out of basically organic stuff, because it's like made out of oil. It's petroleum based, and it lasts forever. You can put it in water. You can bury it. You can heat it up. It's stronger than concrete, so it'll literally last probably thousands of years. We're ever gone, they're going to be finding these Orgone pieces everywhere, scattered around, with plants growing next to them, because they're going to survive. Okay. But you can still see everything cleaning. Oh, also I had a picture of an etching of the etching that you see out there by the water. That's what it looks like whenever the clouds aren't covering it up. And it's got a couple of circles, vortexes in it. This one kind of looks like a smiling face or a mustache or something, but it's coming from Houston, from Sandman, and it's going this way, kind of like a snake. Not exactly straight, but it kind of curves, but it's going this way. So I wanted to show you a still picture of that, because right now I think it's covered up and you can't really see anything. But you can, see? Let me see, over here. See, it's kind of covered up, but you can see the black behind it. Over here, you can see the black behind it a little bit. It's under there. It's under those clouds. The etching is permanent. It's permanent etching. Let's see. See, you can see it right here, hidden behind the clouds, and it's going like this far right here. This whole area right there is darker. It's black. It's clear, coming from this radar dish, satellite dish that I have. And Icarus cleaning all that. Look how clean that is. The whole Gulf all the way to over here to Africa, where these storms are forming over here. They have nowhere to go, because my energy is pushing it so hard. See these clouds right here? See how they're kind of like, they look like they're getting hit by wind, and they're kind of shearing away? That's from this Icarus pointing this way. It's like a fan blowing into it. And it goes all the way over here. And these storms that are forming over here in Africa, I'm going to do my best to where they don't come up in the Gulf. They should go down underneath me now. because I'm pushing the whole jet stream down with this orgone. I've been doing it for a long time, you know, whether you guys know it or not. But another thing too, I want to remind you guys is that orgone, it does a lot of things too that haven't been fully explained or documented. But I can tell you a hint. It facilitates ESP in everybody, so it kind of cleans your pineal gland, or it does something to where you start healing yourself, and you start seeing things, and you start noticing, and the truth, like reality. So I don't know what to tell you, but if you feel anything strange like that, it could be that, along with the sun and everything else that's happening right now. So this is part of it, the Great Awakening. And I just want to show you this guy for now, this short video and all that. And I'll get back to you. And have a good day. Love you guys. Project Odin out.